We will call the meeting to order. All the city council members are in. So the City of West Sacramento regular meeting of the West Sacramento City Council and West Sacramento Redevelopment Successor Agency and West Sacramento Financing Authority for the August 18th meeting will begin. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, which we have all of our Little League members here. And so we'll have them move this over. You can put the picture up on the screen, Madam Clerk, also of all the Little League. And begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. Wow. We are going to move the meeting.
Recording in progress.
This will be a presentation and a proclamation, and we will begin now with Councilmember Karina Roscoe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility, and it's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, not my problem. And then there are those who see the need and they respond. I consider those people my heroes. Those were words uttered by Mr. Rogers when he talked about the helpers, those special people who come to the aid of others, who extend a helping hand and who inspire the children. Those of us who are here today are pleased to gather around a person we know as Umpire Joe, or Joe the umpire. On June 19th, my son received this ball. We were at a Natomas parking lot. It was exciting because we had gone there with the expectation that we were going to represent West Sacramento and walk away the champions. It didn't quite turn out as we'd planned. And as we walked to the truck to load up all the catcher's gear in a solemn, kind of somber effect, a truck pulled up. And I heard a voice say, "Mijo, mijo, come on over here." And when I looked over, Umpire Joe was in the driver's seat and he was holding this ball. Now, at the time, there was no writing on it. This is something we dated as our little game ball, right? But I posted something on social media that night and I said, this game ball will remain in our family as a symbol of pride, humanity, and kindness when it was needed the most. Thank you for all you've done, for all that you are, and all that you continue to do for West Sac children. We could not be more humbled and grateful. Many of you know Umpire Joe better than I could ever. I am just grateful for the opportunity of a moment. But I'll tell you that we all have stories. We have stories of him coaching and assisting with basketball and other sports. We have people that say he gave my young child, the sibling of a player, bubbles. And moreover, when I volunteer in the snack shacks, the kids will come with their tickets and they'll say, "I need a hot dog." "Well, where'd you get this?" "Oh, Joe gave it to me." He comes in, he pays the money, gets the tickets, and he hands them out. For whatever reason, it's deserved on that night. And I got to say, that in and itself is an inspiration. I'll end by saying, to the world, you might be just one person, but to one person, you may be the world. And that was by Dr. Seuss. I'd like to call Umpire Joe up with me, please. Present this proclamation, and I won't read the whole thing, but I will say that one of the passages says, whereas Joe makes sure he learns the name of players, parents, coaches, and their families, and passes out bubbles to younger siblings of players, and takes the time to demonstrate and explain how to play, how play could be differently done for a better outcome, and providing teaching moments for both players and coaches alike. At the bottom, therefore, be it resolved and proclaimed that the West Sac City Council says that Joe the umpire is to be recognized for his generous and unstoppable support of those participating in the West Sac Little League, and might I also add our women's softball, our girls softball team, and for his valuable contributions and years of service to other youth sports programs. Joe Ramirez is a bright light Residents of the city of West Sacramento are encouraged to take note and be inspired and follow his example of community service. So, Joe Ramirez, please. Now, with the mayor and council's permission, I'm going to invite our supervisor, Yolo County Supervisor Oscar Villegas, to present as well.
Congratulations, Joe. So on behalf of the entire community, you know, to know Joe is to love Joe. And I also have a recognition. I'm not going to read it. There's a lot of beautiful words that sort of describe who Joe is. And if you know him, you can maybe sit down with him later and read it for him. But in any case, I wanted to just share, when I heard Karina was going to recognize Joe, I wanted to be a part of it, in part because we all know Joe, the last 15 years, what he's done right here at these grounds and all over the community, really, for that matter. But the truth is, I've known Joe pretty much my entire life. I knew of him. I knew what he did as a kid growing up in Brighton, Broderick. You know, for lack of a better description, he really was kind of the Pied Piper of West Sacramento. Like wherever he went, he drew a crowd, and he could make a pickup game on any corner. If you know Joe, and I know Belinda, I didn't realize this. Anyhow, he could start a baseball game. He could start a soccer game. He could start a football game. Wherever he went, there were people following you around, finding out what Joe was going to do because they wanted to be a part of it. So on behalf of the entire, thank you, Joe, for your legacy, the work you've done for our kids. You left a hell of a legacy. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
We're going to invite a West Sac Little League representative, Dave Jans, who's also a commissioner on our Parks and Community Services. So Dave, please come on up.
So, on behalf of the West Sacramento Little League, we all know and love Joe. He really personifies what we try to represent as a Little League, and that is for the kids to have fun playing a game that they love. And this man here makes it fun for those players. He encourages them at the plate when they're nervous, teaches them how to play the game, teaches them about rules, and he really is a generous man too. He takes care of the teams. We pay like a nominal fee to the umpires for their services to us. And he's known for taking that fee and turning it right back over to the snack bar and paying for kids ice creams and hot dogs and things like that, because I really believe in his heart he loves these kids and he loves what we're doing here. So on behalf of the West Sacramento League, Little League, we couldn't be any prouder to have you as a part of our team. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to have a little bit of leave here. I would like to introduce Melissa Farrell Brown, who's going to talk to us a little bit about how the community feels about it.
All right. I am just going to repeat what everyone has said. Joe's been part of our family for a long time. He's a great mentor to all these kids, to their families, and comes out here with bubbles and pins and hot dog tickets and whatever else these kids and families need. He's there. And we couldn't be more thankful and proud to have you as part of the West Sac Little League. So a bunch of families got together for a gift for you. And we have some great West Sac gear to give you. So we have a West Sac All-Star hat. And then we've also framed, which you can totally wear, a West Sac little All-Star jersey. Number one, always, Umpire Joe. So,
Yeah.
Thank you. That we have to present to Joe will be here at our snack bar forever is a tile. And that tile was again purchased by families, and it says, "Thank you, Joe Ramirez, coach, mentor, friend to all. 2021 West Sac Little League family."
Thank you.
Right. And we're going to give Joe a moment if you'd like to get any comments.
Oh, God.
Like-
I'd like to thank the Little League, all the parents, family, and Oscar. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. All the kids, do it all over again. The kids are everything. Thank you, everybody.
Mayor Council is going to join us in front of the camera along with Joe to do a final vote.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Councilmember Orozco, and everybody here, to all the families. This shows how enriching our beautiful community is. And being together, providing each other support, but mainly, this comes from examples like you. This blends, well, and melts our hearts, and builds our community. It is because of people like you that our children are going to grow up stronger, more compassionate, caring. This will go generations ahead.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much
all
for
of you.
all
Thank
of you
you.
done.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to call a vote.
I'll make a motion. Motion to recommend action.
Back now, say.
Okay, and I'll be the clerk, and we'll start off with Councilmember Orozco,
Aye.
Councilmember Alcala, aye, and Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. And with that, this is unanimously supported, and this item is approved. So thank you so much. We will continue with the West Sacramento City Council Redevelopment Successor Agency and Financing Authority for the August 18th meeting, and pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N-29-20, members of the West Sacramento City Council and staff will participate in this meeting via Zoom to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Members of the public are asked to watch the meeting via live stream on the city's website or wave cable. We will have live public comment, and we will continue to receive written comments, and all comments received by 5:30 will be provided to the City Council and posted on the website. To provide a live comment during the meeting, join the meeting using the Zoom link, hyperlinked, or the phone number listed on the city's website. I'll request public comment during item 1A prior to the first item on consent and after the staff presentation for any other item on the agenda. Once I've announced the public comment period, if you would like to make a comment, please do one of the following. If you are joining the meeting via Zoom, press the raise hand button. Or if you're joining the meeting by phone, press the *9. And when it is your turn to comment, the clerk will call you by name or phone number and will unmute your microphone. Each person will have 3 minutes, and the clerk will notify you when you have 30 seconds to wrap up your comments. And once again, or once after your 3 minutes or your public comment has ended, you'll be muted again. You may also join by phone, dialing 1-669-900-9128 and press ID number 920-9564-2935, passcode 004264. And next, we will go to our closed session report. And City Attorney, if you can please provide a
Mayor,
closed session report. Yes.
the council met in closed session to consider the initiation of litigation. The council's direction was to authorize the city attorney's office to initiate litigation. The identities of the defendants will be available upon request once litigation is formally commenced.
Thank you so much. And next item on the agenda.
Madam Mayor, sorry, just if I may, just a quick note.
Yes,
that
you
just
may.
to note for the record that I did recuse myself from closed session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma. Next item on the agenda is item 1A, which are presentations by the public on matters not included on the agenda, and council members are prohibited from discussion on any matter presented under this item. Madam Clerk, do we have anything or writing or a live public comment request?
No, we don't. No public comment.
I have a Maria Grijalva raising her hand. And can we unmute her microphone?
Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My neighbors received a mailer in the mail, and it has a logo in it. And I had written to the webmaster from the city council's website regarding the use of the city council or rather the website logo or the city logo. And I've not gotten word back. And so I wanted to get word whether it's legal or proper for a candidate running for office to be able to use the city's logo in their campaign material. And I'm not sure what the legalities are there. and whether the city allows a candidate to do that. I wanted everybody to know that in addition to leaving these on people's doors, this was also sent in the mail. And so I don't know. I know that if I was doing something like this, I think Jeffrey Mitchell would be on the phone already. And that's just me being sarcastic. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. And there are no other items, no other members requesting to speak? Okay, we'll go to our next item, item 1B, council communications from our assignments. And are there any requests to provide a report?
Report.
Okay, Councilmember Roscoe.
Thank you. On August 5th, the Yolo County Housing Authority met together. We discussed a variety of topics. It was actually a fantastic meeting. We discussed the COVID-19 Tenant Relief Act of 2020, both the prior protections and current changes under the law under AB 832, which added a new period called the COVID-19 recovery period from October 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 2022. Tenants owe 100% of the rent, but landlords need to show an attempt to get rental assistance. And it also added new notice requirements, a 3-day notice with specific language about government rental assistance programs. It has to be in the same language as the lease agreement. We also discussed an update or received an update on Project Room Key within the entire region. This is the ongoing support non-congregate shelter programs that are existence in Woodland and also Davis and West Sacramento, with West Sacramento and Davis having the largest programs, with Davis at 56 members. And at the time of the meeting, West Sacramento had 34. But we also have Project Home Key at 62 members as of the date of the meeting. We discussed the Project Room Key outcomes from March 2020 through July 2021, with a total individual served of 744, total permanently housed is 67, total shelter nights provided is 85,282, or I guess it's total folks that stayed, and the average length of stay is 114 nights. We also discussed and received a presentation on homeless housing assistance and prevention program, encampment resolution program, Health and Human Services Agency, including CalWorks, Bringing Families Home, Housing and Disability Advocacy Program, which is HCAP. And finally, talked about what other jurisdictions are doing with respect to homeless. And I was actually, it was cool because Davis provided some options that they were pursuing, including sanctioned camping sites, permanent shelter sites, and apartment complex. And top of the list was Downtown Streets Team. And then also Woodland, theirs was potential motel conversion, filling East Beamer Way funding gap, and at the top of the list, the Downtown Streets Team. So I did offer to give presentations along with people from DST or even staff that worked on this, including some of the original folks that like Mark Sawyer and Raul, who are very familiar with the program, if we could offer any assistance to those jurisdictions. But one of the things I took away from this is that West Sacramento really is a leader in this area. I mean, we have Project Room Key, Project Home Key, a permanent support of housing development that's coming in, Downtown Streets Team. We have the Mercy Coalition with our winter warming revolving centers. And I think we just really need to pat ourselves on the back for being so proactive and getting in front of this even before COVID hit. For some of these programs. And I think it really does make a huge difference in reducing the impacts and incidences of homelessness. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Roscoe, and agree that we are a leader here in West Sacramento and from Iowa County Partners. And thanks to all the community partners and nonprofits that and the religious-based organizations who have been, you know, ever since we lost our temporary shelter, and when it burned down, you know, they've organized and continued the work out on the streets, reaching out to our populations. And, you know, they've come in, you know, when we had the ability to place people in our motels. Thanks to the governor for the amount of funding and support that he has provided to give us the ability to provide shelter and housing support here in our city. And the numerous times he's visited just to check in to see how we're doing. So really grateful for him as well. Just a quick report on my end. I have this morning with through the U.S. Conference of Mayors, met with early this morning, so you know it's a very long day for me here. Met with Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. She's the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, and we did talk about homeless and housing issues. We all shared, what our experiences and our asks are for funding at the federal level. And, she mentioned, that, we can convert and rehab motels. And so I was able to express, the progress we made here in West Sacramento, along with Mayor Libby Schaaf, who's done the same thing in her jurisdiction. So these are mayors across the nation. I got to say, we have, as a state, have done a lot more for those that aren't housed in California. We have a long ways to go, though, which is what we urged. And we also have seen some good work done by our West Sac Police Department and our homeless department with Mark Sawyer. I got to say, Mark Sawyer is the biggest, strongest support system for our community, and is putting together those stories, which we're going to share with the Congresswoman. So the success stories that we have. And Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just had some committee reports. If you're
Sorry, I missed that. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. All right, that's okay. Just a couple to report on. First, on August 5th, Thursday, was a meeting of the SACOG Transportation Committee. We took action on a couple of items, which were mainly benefiting Yellow Transit on some good repair projects of good repair grants that were allowed and issued by SACOG, and also some information reports regarding the stuff that interests us, because it's our work in the transit and mobility space. But another update on the next gen transit strategy, which SACOG will be adopting, and Mary will probably see that at the general board meeting soon. You probably already have seen that. But again, it really talks about how programs like we have with VIA, and then there's also bike share and our active transportation movement plans, things like that will really benefit from that greater SACOG study. So it was a really good presentation, as well as we looked at the active transportation program, and also got an update on the mobility program framework, which is another initiative that may help us as we continue to look at innovative mobility strategies. So that was from the 5th. And then sorry if I maneuver through, on August 9th, Monday, was a meeting of the Yellow Bus District Board of Directors. A couple of things of note there. First of all, we announced the hiring of Autumn Bernstein as our new executive director. We're really excited. I think I haven't had a chance to discuss Autumn, but she brings a wealth of experience to Yellow Bus. She is a big win for the district in terms of her background, extensive background in the private sector, supporting BART, SACOG, Stanford University, other large transit providers and think tanks that are based in transit. And she's worked in, like I said, at SACOG, and some of the work that we've done here on the transit strategy I just spoke about a few minutes ago, and with the California Strategic Growth Council. So again, she's had some really extensive background. She's already introduced herself to the staff there, and she'll be starting in September. So we're really excited about that, as well as we started to talk about, which you all should be aware of, which is Yellow Go. As you remember, we did the Yellow Go, which is the comprehensive operational analysis looking at routes. The Yellow Bus will be working with the city to get some outreach out on some bus routes. You should be aware that there's some consolidation of a couple of routes. It's 35 and 39, which really have seen a drop off of service since COVID. So this was part of the service to really try to consolidate that into one route, as well as a couple of other changes that would look to increase frequency, at least in the mainline 40 and 41, but also again try to streamline that. So that will impact some riders, some for the better. Those who want to see more frequent rides may benefit from that. But again, just some changes coming up, and there'll be some outreach to the community occurring. So those are two things. Oh, I'm sorry. One more on that item was around the agreement that the district took to support Unitrans, which is the university's transit district in Davis. They are going through a bit of a resource problem, and Yellow Bus is coming in to supplement their service. We made an agreement with them to make sure our Davis campus riders had, as school gets ready to start, service was as best it can be as the university deals with some staffing issues there. But again, that's still, we made an agreement in principle, and we'll probably get a budget back next month. So some good work there, and really, really pleased with the direction Yellow Bus is going. So that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's it. No more reports. Okay, next I'm going to, with the consent of the council, move up our regular agenda item 18 under Parks and Recreation, which is consideration of approval of the naming of Lenny and Kitty Triboli Park. Miss Michael, would you please present on this item?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Tracy Michael, Parks and Recreation Director. And I'm pleased to be bringing this park naming application to you for consideration. I'm also joined this evening by Lenny and Kitty Triboli, the subjects of the proposed park naming application. In November of 2019, a small, beautifully landscaped property in the Westmore Oaks neighborhood located at 1028 Fernwood Street was listed for sale. The photo of the site is actually behind me in my background image. The city successfully purchased the site in order for it to remain as a pocket park for the neighborhood and community to enjoy. The property was originally intended for a single-family home, but was never developed. The property owner failed to maintain the lot, and over time it became home to illegal dumping and overgrown weeds and created a blight for the neighborhood. To combat this, over 50 years ago, neighbors Lenny and Kitty Triboli began caring for the property. They planted grass, flowers, and all of the trees on site, and have since paid for the trees to be pruned, even some removed, replanted as needed. They've mowed, edged, and watered the site, investing their own time and money to make sure that what was once a blighted property remained a beautiful space for neighbors to visit and enjoy. In June 2021, we received an application from resident and neighbor Carol Bassey to name this recently acquired property after Lenny and Kitty, the neighbors that lovingly cared for the site for over 5 decades. Per the city's facility naming policy, the application was screened by myself and then shared with the Parks, Recreation, and Intergenerational Services Commission on August 3rd. The commission unanimously supported advancing this application to council for consideration. This proposed naming meets criteria number 3 under the city's facility naming guidelines and procedures, which is the names of individuals, families, or organizations who have made significant contributions to the community. I want to thank Carol for recognizing her neighbors and the contribution they have made to the community. After meeting and hearing about the history of this site from several of the residents in the neighborhood, I know Carol's application reflects the thoughts and sentiment of so many people who have enjoyed the site and witnessed the Tribolis caring for the property. The city took over maintenance of the site in 2020 and recently installed irrigation, and we have power coming to the site. And I'm hoping now Lenny and Kitty are enjoying a much needed break from all of the landscaping work, and that they know how much our park staff enjoys visiting them when they're out there maintaining the site and learning about the history of the property. Based on this information, I am happy to recommend to council that council consider approving the naming of this property, the Lenny and Kitty Triboli Park. And I am joined by Lenny and Kitty if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Michael. And I think, so are they available to speak at this point if they wanted to speak?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good. Oh, did you want to turn on your camera? Oh, I see you now. Oh, hi.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that worked on this project and the neighbors, the many, many neighbors, many that are not here anymore through the years that helped us on the lot. There were pies that came, there were anonymous envelopes with money in them. At times, comments. It's really been quite an experience, and we really thank everybody involved in the city of West Sacramento for putting us in for the naming of the park. But we really enjoyed doing it. We still go over there and pick up some things and do some little things, but you know, this is still part of us in there yet.
We're friends of the park.
We're
like
friends of the park,
like friends of the library.
So thank you so much for everybody's input into naming the park.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I think I have Councilmember Orozco that would like to, so we'll bring it back to council and allow for council members while you're on so that we can express our appreciation for you. Councilmember Orozco, you can start.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. and Mrs. Pavoli, I tell you, I'm your neighbor. This is my neighborhood, and the park is along our regular walking path with my two young sons and my black lab Jax. And I'll tell you, we all know the story of what you've done to preserve the beauty of that corner lot. And out of a sign of respect, Jax has never soiled the lawn or depressed any of the grass blades there. I'll tell you that I used to be on the parks and, well, back then, Parks and Community Services, whatever our name was back then, and had a great fortune of taking a vote on the Fred and Layla Holmes site, which is close to Memorial Park. And later, along with my colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Chris Ledesma, we named a park after Willie DePrado, who once owned Willie's Market over on 15th. And there's nothing like honoring great neighbors, people who give back to the community and really leave their mark. And you went above and beyond the call. As neighbors in down the street from me, I just sincerely thank you for that. I'll leave this with something I read just a moment ago. It says, the things you do for yourself are gone when you're gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy. And that was a quote by Kalu Nkukwe Kalu. And I think it really does represent the contribution you've made, not only to the neighbors in the state streets, but future generations to come as they navigate these beautiful streets and see that wonderful park. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Orozco. Councilmember Alcoa.
I just also wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you do for the community. It's so wonderful. I know your neighbors are probably so appreciative of this, and to have done this for so long. I know I sometimes get frustrated when I'm driving through West Sacramento and I see, garbage thrown out there and things not looking so great. But that incredible, commitment to making things more beautiful for everyone. It really speaks to the spirit of the people in West Sacramento, and you have just done a tremendous job with this fabulous park. So thank you so much. And I know Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma is going to say something, but I will definitely want to move this motion forward.
Thank you, Councilmember Alcala. Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma.
Thank you. And before I second, I think that was the motion, Councilor. Yeah, okay. Before I second that, Mr. Taboli, thank you so much. This is actually a neighborhood I lived, my wife Maria and I lived, sort of our family, over on Deerwood, not too far from your neighborhood. And that was a frequent walk for us as well, and very familiar with the park. And you guys have just done a terrific job with the neighbors over the years. And thank you so much for all you've done. And I can't say anything more that my colleagues haven't said already about the spirit of what you've done. It is something. It's something very West Sac. It's been done a couple of times in our community where neighbors have taken a small park or a small lot that wasn't being used or was not adding any sort of a beautiful site to its neighbors and converted it. And it really takes that sort of West Sac get it done spirit. So thank you both so much for all you've done, and I appreciate all you and the neighbors have done and to maintain it over the years. So with that, I will second Councilmember Racala's motion.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma. And Lenny and Kitty, thank you so much for, just bringing back to the community something that's really important, which is preserving our parks. And I'm sure, many, many children and people have all spent time, which is quality time, just to be able to relax and enjoy the outdoor. I've passed by the park many times and have just admired it in the middle, right in the middle of a really nice community, all the people, your neighbors there. And they've, I reached out to a couple of the neighbors as well, just to let them know you were being recognized. They couldn't figure out a way to get on, but they also wanted to jump on and express their appreciation. And we're so grateful, to be able to, try to do what you did all these years to preserve the beauty, and make sure you give us a call if we're not doing our job. We're here for you. But I think it's parks like this that the heart and soul of the community are the parks that we cherish the most. And I've seen that among community members who find ways to give back in a park. And that's what I love about West Sacramento, is that we value these amenities in our lives that help us to just relax and enjoy the outdoors. And your contribution is extremely meaningful to all of us, and I'm so glad that this is being named in your honor. So look forward to seeing you there sometime maybe, and spending some time with you out there. And with that, I'll have Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Acala.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma.
Aye.
Councilmember Orozco.
Aye.
Mayor Guerrero.
Aye. And I didn't open up the public comment. I just want to make sure if there's any requests for public comment at this moment. And are there any at this point?
I don't see any.
Okay.
Oh, there's
Dave.
one.
Dave
There's one.
is on the line. Dave, could you you're welcome to speak.
Thank you. I just want to say that I'm very glad about this. Lenny and Kit have been 13 years I've been around tirelessly over there every year, keeping it mowed and looking beautiful, and that's one of the reasons I bought the house here. It just it showed that this was a really loved neighborhood, and I'm just so happy about this. So thank you to the city for making this happen, and thanks for Lenny and Kit being who you are. You are fabulous neighbors. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll close the public comment, and with that, this item is approved. And thank you so much for being online and joining us today. All right. Okay, next item is on our consent agenda, items 3 through 16. Are there any requests to remove an item for questions or presentation by anyone in our administration?
Madam Mayor, I just want to make a couple of comments on item 5 and item 7.
Sure. Any others? Nope. Okay, we'll start off with item 5, which is the capital project consideration of approval of a professional services contract with Ghirardelli Associates for construction management services for the Riverfront Extension and 5th Street widening project.
Yeah, thank you. This will be brief, and just to call out to staff, thank you for continuing to pursue this important project. As we've opened up 5th Street, South River Road, the McGowan Bridge, all that infrastructure which was years ahead of schedule for the Southport framework plan, opened up that whole corridor to not just car traffic, but pedestrian and bike traffic. And I know my colleague, Councilmember Orozco, knows this road well. All of us do, as we ride through the 5th Street corridor and Riverfront Street, just the danger it poses, the traffic for bikes and pedestrian. So this is a very worthy project. I know we've been working on this for some time and trying to get this right. I think we're ready to look at the project schedule, get working on this really soon. I think at the end of the summer, is that right? City manager or whoever's presenting on this, I think that the schedule shows. But anyway, just calling out, this is really good work and necessary.
Madam Mayor, may I?
Yes, you may, Councilmember Orozco.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma. He's right. I have brought this up over the last 5 years. It's actually a comical sight to see either me try to pedal my way to work, pedaling scared and fast and on fire out of fear of, just getting smacked by a car, but also the tremendous caboose of 6 people when I have the entire family on bikes trying to all ride in the same direction. And that is the area, because we live right there, that gives us access to downtown or just the riverfront. We're always traveling through there. So I'm very, very excited about this. And I just wanted to echo Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma's comments, because long time coming and very excited. Thank you. Thank you, Vin.
Thanks, Vin.
Thank you, Vin. Go ahead,
Thank
Vin.
you
Did
very
you want
much.
to say
Just a really quick comment pertaining to the schedule. We will try to get this underway as quickly as possible once we have this contract. Okay. The project manager, Alicia Tribucate, she's done an amazing job with this, moving this project forward, and she's a little bit under the weather today. But other than that, thank you very much for your support on this.
Thank you, Vin.
Thanks,
I just
Vin.
want to say that, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to say that I did receive a lot of feedback and comments from people about that little section there as I've connected with our community and residents. And if they've, we're extremely concerned and always relieved that that there was a plan to begin work on that little section so that they can commute, safely in that part of town. Even as I drive there, it's always scary to try to avoid a bicyclist who's, kind of parallel on that spot. So glad to hear this is happening. Thank you for all the hard work in that area. And next we have is item 7, community development. Under community development, consideration of approval of resolution 21-37, authorizing the city manager to execute a grant agreement with Caltrans and allocating $33,481 for Measure N, Fund 111, to meet the Caltrans condition of grant award for local match for the West Sacramento Sidewalks and Transportation Equity Program. And Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma?
Yeah, just another call out the staff again for staying on top of an issue that has been looking for a solution, which is mainly funding. And this one, so staff, this is again looking at survey of gaps in sidewalk and safety for pedestrians across the city. I think it's citywide and surveying, but I think that the goal of this is to build a priorities list out of this, find equitable solutions to neighborhoods where readily available funding isn't there. And that's where, so Sarah, I think you're on top of this. That's the scope of the survey, right? Yeah, so just really good job. This is absolutely necessary. And the thing that we have to even get it done is Measure N. So I want to thank the taxpayers and voters who approved Measure N a few years ago. We authored this a couple of years ago. We know we wanted to keep some of that money so it could help fill these gaps, identify gaps where, again, we don't have the benefit of impact fees or other natural funding that comes from new development, as you would in other parts of the city. So this is a great solution. Hopefully we can get a prioritized list, find the funding we need to actually go make the changes and in parts of the city where, again, that funding isn't there. So again, just a really good call out, Sarah and team, for keeping this going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma. I also had this on my list to make a comment. And, one of the areas I've observed that this might fit is under the age-friendly, category. And I, reached out to Charlotte Dorsey, who wasn't able to join us tonight. She's a member of the California Senior Legislature, Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council, YOLA Healthy Aging Alliance. But on this particular issue, she's a BB-CAN member. Also just an active participant in our community to support older adults. So, we both strongly agree that we just need to be reminded here in reports like this that that we should reference age-friendly and recognize by implication that we are an age-friendly city, and sidewalks and transportation are equity issues. They are associated with the prevalence of assisted devices such as wheelchairs, canes, walkers, leg and ankle bracelets, etc. So language included in this type of planning document helps to, keep it in the forefront as a reminder that our residents are not forgotten. So if we continue to prepare this, even if it's a to request for a contract or a proposal, that we include the phrase age-friendly in the documents. And it doesn't have to be capitalized; it could be lowercase, because this is not an ARP action. But just wanted to keep that in the forefront. And with that, since there are no other items that we are looking for, I'm going to open it up for public comment at this moment, if there's any public comment, request to speak. And if there's none, we'll close it and bring it back to council for a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the recommended actions.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem moved and Councilmember Orozco seconds. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Acala?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma?
Aye.
Councilmember Orozco?
Aye.
Mayor Guerrero?
Aye. Next is our typeset agenda item number 17 under community development is a public hearing and first reading of ordinance 21-11, 21-12, and 21-13 regarding development agreements for cannabis manufacturing, wholesale cannabis logistics, distribution, transportation, and indoor cannabis cultivation at 1105-1107 Terminal Street. Ms. Kathy Allen.
Mayor Guerrero and members of the council. This cannabis project includes 3 development agreements for cannabis distribution, cannabis manufacturing, and indoor cultivation. For this project, no customers would visit the facility. No signage would be on the building or on the company vehicle. In addition to the community development staff which reviewed this project, staff from both police and fire did a thorough review of the project. The applicant has been working very closely with staff from PD on the security plan for the project. And prior to initiation of the site, if approved, PD staff would have to approve their safety and security plan before the business could operate. The project is on land zoned light industrial. The surrounding land uses include various small businesses, a truck yard. The site is also adjacent to both Interstate 80 and the playfields at Westmore Oaks Elementary. This item was heard before the Planning Commission on July 15th. The Planning Commission approved the 3 use permits for the project and unanimously voted to recommend approval of this project to the council. This concludes my presentation. I wanted to note that the applicant is on the call should you have any questions for him, and I'm available to take any questions at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Councilmember Orozco, do you have a question?
I actually do. A little question and comment.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. I guess the questions first. Kathy, is this the same language? We've approved several DAs in the past. Is this the same type of agreement that we've had with all of the other similarly situated businesses that have applied?
Yes. Over time, the DA has evolved slightly with changes as it has gone along, but the basic language is the same.
And with respect to proximity to any school location, I know we had a discussion on prior meetings about I don't know if it's 500 yards or 500 feet, but this particular location is not anywhere near Westmore Oaks, is it?
It's adjacent to the play fields, but the school itself is quite a ways to the east of where the actual facility is.
If I could jump in there too, this is not well known out there. Perhaps the Westmore Oaks just reopened at the former Fallbrook campus, so the old high school site, which this backs up to, is no longer an active school site, other than for their virtual learning program is hosted there. But as far as I know, there are no students at that location. It's only faculty that are responsible for the virtual learning program. So the actual school is now at the former location, the old Westmore Oaks.
Mr. City Manager, it could be possible in the future that the old location, the old campus could be populated with some other type of programming, correct?
That'd be up to the school districts. That'd be their decision. But at this point, I haven't heard any indication that that's something in the works, for what that's worth.
But would this, even though it's adjacent, would you say if as the bird flies, or however you want to measure it, that this would meet the guidelines of being a certain distance away from the facility?
I'll defer back to Kathy on that question. That more has to do with the distancing they looked at when, assuming it was an active campus. So Kathy, you can answer that one.
The distancing has to be, it's a 500-foot radius, and the actual school buildings do exceed that.
Okay. Well, I just briefly, when I began at the DA's office 16 years ago, these are the kinds of cases that we would prosecute. So it's been a long time for me to you change the law, but sometimes the mindset and the stigma still are attached. And so I've traveled a long distance to get to the point where I feel like, well, yes. And that's after years of touring these businesses and seeing how they work in action. And I appreciate that our police department and fire department actually do vet the projects to ensure that they're meeting the guidelines that we are setting forth. No signage, no identifiable logos or whatnot on the transportation or the vehicles or the building, and the safety plan. So I'm in support after having heard the answers to the questions that I posed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Alcala, do you have any questions?
No, Mayor.
I had a few questions. Member Tim Ledesma, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just a couple of comments. I appreciate the comments from my colleague, and this has been one I've had to adjust. I know the previous councils, members of the council that I sat with as well. Some of us approving these DAs in this industry is obviously the laws have changed. The voters have overwhelmingly in the state and in West Sac have changed how we view cannabis in the industry. But more so, I think city have done a really good job of trying to be in front of this and using development agreements like this one to address concerns we have. And certainly my views have changed towards it. And initially, the hesitation towards anything cannabis near a school or near any period would be raised by, gave me great pause. Let's put it that way. But the current environment and our regulation of it, our ability to do exactly what Councilmember Roscoe said, where our police are involved, security plans are required. Looking through the various components of it, we address quite a bit to try to make sure that there's performance issues, that agreements with the business as it moves forward. And I think, if I recall, we've had many discussions about how we would enforce our ability to enforce these, or work with the developer, or with the business as it moves forward in its iteration. So anyway, I am supportive of it. Appreciate the work staff has done and continue to do to help us manage this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Tim Ledesma. And I just want to ask for the record, the outreach to the neighboring jurisdictions, just how far the outreach was done to that neighborhood to let people know that this was considered for a DA?
We know all the property owners within a 500-foot radius, which is our standard noticing for a project.
500 feet. It's not a whole lot. Okay. All right. Sounds good. I mean, I'm supportive of it. I just wanted to find out. With that, I'll accept a motion to approve.
Mayor, Miss.
Oh, sorry.
Madam Mayor, were you going to open the public hearing?
Yes, sorry about that. Thank you for reminding me. And I will open it up for public comment. Any request to speak? Madam Clerk?
I don't see any. No.
Okay, thank you. And I'll close up the public comment and bring it back to council. Any other comments or questions?
There's no other. I'll move the item. Make the motion.
Councilmember Oscar moved. Councilmember Alcala seconds. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Alcala?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma?
Aye.
Councilmember Orozco? Aye. Mayor Guerrero?
Aye. All right, that item is approved. And next we'll go to council calendar.
Being Mayor and Council, just a reminder that August 25th, we have the Home to Suites ribbon cutting event on the calendar that goes in your packet. It says it starts at noon, but it actually starts at 11:30 with the program starting at 11:45. So just a little update on that one. That's all for me.
Thank you, Amanda. And next is our city manager report.
Yes, just a few quick items tonight. So first on the Triboli Park item, since we can call it that now, we will be having a community event to commemorate the naming of the park, and hopefully, as we develop other improvements, we can make it about that as well. But we don't have a date for that. We're going to do it when it's safe and appropriate. But we are planning for that in the neighborhood. We are not having a council meeting on September 1st. I know the council is aware of that. I just want to make the public aware. So the next council meeting would be September 15th. And tomorrow and Friday, I'll be attending on behalf of the city, the Greater Sacramento Economic Council's annual board planning retreat. So I will be available though. So in case you need me, you know where to find me. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, city manager. And the cancellation for the September 1st meeting was due to both myself and Councilmember Orozco not being available. And it was going to be at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and since then it's been canceled. It was in Austin. Probably the best thing to maintain the health and well-being of all the mayors across the nation. Next, we'll have a city attorney report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have nothing to report tonight.
All right, thank you so much. And staff direction from city council members. No, and then future agenda item request by council. With that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Mayor,
go ahead, Councilmember Alcala.
I just wanted to publicly acknowledge our West Sacramento Police Department for their quick and very decisive action in responding to an emergency at my house. Thanks to them, my husband Carlos is safely back with us, and we're just very fortunate to have these heroes.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Alcala. I don't think we ever thank them enough. Our first responders they work a lot of hours, and they do incredible work to keep our community safe. So thank you very much for acknowledging them. And our Parks and Rec for all the work they're doing. I know we had June is Parks and Rec month, but today is also a way to recognize them and what they're doing to keep our community beautiful. So our parks. So thank you, everybody. And with that, we'll get a motion to adjourn. Somebody move. I'm kind of trying. Okay.
No, nobody moved. I'll move now.
Okay, Councilmember Orozco and Alcala seconds. And Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Alcala?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ledesma?
Aye.
Councilmember Orozco? Aye. Mayor Guerrero?
Aye. And Ms. Ledesma, thank you for taking on as Madam Clerk today. You did a great job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody. All right, take care.
Good night.
Good night.